in the interest of the Romine child, everybody that's going to testify, please raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, thank you. This case was previously set on 9/22 for a permanency after hearing. On that day, we released the parenting coaches. Yay. CPS was to get Miss Emily a doctor's appointment, and they were to include a physical and complete blood work for her. CPS and CASA were to file new reports, which they did. CPS was to go to the home weekly. I don't know about that. And Kristen was to help with the home, unboxing some of the stuff and all that. And I think that's been done. So I read the updates. One thing I didn't understand is why was Kyra tested for fentanyl, heroin, etc. I didn't understand that. That was in the CASA report. Needed to talk about family therapy and individual therapy for everybody. This crazy stuff about being doctor here, doctor there, Dr. Comanche, blood work here, blood work there. I was just confused when I was reading Tiffany's advisement to the court. I didn't really even understand all that. And I needed to know what we're doing about our new autism being the spectrum. Sorry, y'all, I can't talk very well today. Being on the spectrum, that new diagnosis. So, Mr. Malone, if you want to begin, and we'll just kind of work around the room. I can't hear.
Can you hear now, Judge? Can you hear now?
Talk a little bit. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. In addition to the issues you raised, Ms. Miller has filed a motion to reinstate parental rights. And of course,
yes,
the court has three options: to grant it, to deny it, or to defer it. And when we get to that, the department's position is that it's too early to grant it outright. If you defer it, then I'm sorry, Ms. Romine becomes the possessory conservator, but it doesn't really change anything as far as her rights. So the department opposes the granting or even the deferring disposition of that motion on the basis that it doesn't really change anything. And then in addition to that, Tiffany Schlab is here to testify regarding an issue with the meds. I don't fully understand that, but there was apparently some issue with meds that Tiffany can explain shortly. So with that prefatory remark, Judge, I would call Tiffany Schlab to testify and give us the update.
The benefit of an opening statement.
Excuse me?
What, Ms. Miller? What, Ms. Miller?
Your Honor, may we each have an opening statement to talk about what we think the issues for the hearing are before we go into testimony?
Yes, but I'm just going to say I was not going to motion to reinstate wasn't set for today, so I wasn't going to hear it today anyway. We were going to be able to talk about that, but it wasn't set for today. So there you go. Okay, Ms. Lang, what do you want to say?
Oh, I'm here. I'm sorry, Judge. Basically, my client and I were thrilled to see the motion to reinstate. We had just had a family group conference. The only issue that aired its head at the conference was logistical issues about these medications. And so I believe Tiffany got busy and just gave a report to the court. She alleges that my client was untruthful about her trying to comply and go pick up medications. We would be able to proffer testimony and at a later date witnesses. of 5 attempts where she tried to go and pick up the medications to have to the child. I've also learned that the child went for a period of time in the adoptive care arena without her medications for an extended period of time. There have been no negative outcomes for this child. She continues to do well in school. Tiffany even commented about how she's less angry and easier to talk to now that she's not taking her meds. And what's most alarming to me is nobody in the room has even called the primary care provider to say, is there a deleterious effect of this child not having her meds 100% consistently right now? Nobody's alarmed at that, although they're going to say that my client lies, which she has never lied to anyone. In fact, the only one she has trouble communicating with is Tiffany. So us having the opportunity to, first of all, avail of the law and get her rights reinstated as a mother, let her step aside and be mom, and her and this child have peace and have it be the best interest of this child moving forward. There are no questions about the child's safety, about my client neglecting her or not being able to meet her needs. And so I think the less involvement and the more this family gets to move on, the better. But if you're not hearing the motion to reinstate today, Judge, I'm just going to ask for better communication, for an effort for the department to work in integrity and quit making false allegations about individuals, especially my client who has specific needs in terms of communication. And once you get to the bottom of it and the truth, there's no lie there. So that's all I have to offer, Judge. We just want people to let them be mom and daughter and continue getting on with their life.
Okay, Ms. Miller, you have an opening?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. So I filed the motion to reinstate parental rights about 48 hours ago. So obviously it's not set for today's hearing, but I definitely appreciate getting the perspective of DFPS from Mr. Malone that the department is opposed to that motion being granted. That's interesting information. However, the motion's not set for today, so I would just ask that it be set within the required 60 days. Kira has been bureaucratically detoxed from her medication. She has 2 out of the 3 medicines that she was prescribed by an MD somewhere in the state of Texas to take. I understand that refill was called into Abilene or was refilled in Abilene, which is obviously not where Miss Romine lives. So that's kind of an interesting location for the pills to be sent to. But I think that the child needs to, her medication needs to be overseen by an MD and not by DFPS, and for workers and bureaucracy not to make the decision about whether the child is on her medication or not, which is absolutely driving the train right now. There's no doctor saying you should or shouldn't be on this. DFPS is making the decision about what literally goes down the child's throat in terms of her pills. Kira wants to be on her medication. She understands the need to be on her medication during period of transitions. I've heard it from her own mouth. And the fact that she only has 2 out of 3 right now and has these haphazard refills when the child is in the care of the department is really terrifying, especially since this impacts her physical health, her mental health, and the only reason that she's not taking all of her medication is because of bureaucratic delays. So I've asked multiple times for pill counts. I've asked multiple times for a doctor's report on the status of the medication, and I just don't get an answer. I'm accustomed to not receiving answers to my questions outside of court, but I would expect that we'll be able to get some answers today regarding the status of the child's medication and who's actually overseeing the dispensation of those drugs to the child.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Malone, do you want to call anybody as a witness? What do you want to do?
Hey, Schlab, to testify, give us an update and specifically address the meds issue.
Okay, the medication was, she was seen on the 29th of September, and they were not filled at that point. Dr. made Kingswood Haven made a referral and told Miss Romine about it. And when she was supposed to see the PCP, the primary care physician, she didn't understand what the Kings Haven doctor was asking for, actually go back, that's the August 29th doctor's appointment. And when she made the PC primary care physician appointment, she did not know what to ask for. So she had the doctor call me directly, and I told the doctor the Kings Haven was needing a lab test done before they would prescribe another round of medication.
Wait, hold on, Miss Schlab, I'm already confused.
Okay.
8/29 or 9/29?
It's the correction, it's 8/29.
Okay, and who did she see that day?
That was the psychiatrist of Kings Haven.
I couldn't understand. Psychiatrist what?
From Kings Haven.
Okay, where's Kings Haven?
That's the one that's on internet. It's telemed out of Houston. I'm sorry, I'm in the airport parking garage trying to find a client spot. So
Yeah, okay. So why did an online psychiatrist see her on 8/29?
we were trying to get the prescription transferred into her new placement, and he needed a refill for those 3 meds.
Okay,
She had a refill done August the 12th, right before she left, for 2 medications, but they would not refill the Jornay, I believe it was, because it had not been long enough for Medicaid purposes, and so they had to have appointment for that to be filled.
okay. So that psychiatrist is with Kings Haven, and they had to make a referral to a PCP.
Right. She was supposed to go to a PCP, get labs done, but when she went to the PCP, the primary care physician, she did not know what to tell the primary care physician. So when the appointment was finally made towards the end of September, that's when the doctor called me and asked me what was needed. I told her what the medications were. She said, I cannot prescribe those medications because I'm not a psychiatrist. I cannot follow the medications. I'm willing to do the lab, but I need a lab request from Kings Haven. I said, okay, fine. So I got the phone, immediately called Kings Haven, and had them email me the lab testing that they needed to get this done. And I emailed it, had them email it to Emily, because she was at the primary care physician appointment at that point. She did not see it until after she left the appointment. By that time, it was 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I did not see the request until CASA sent it to me 2 days, maybe a week later, and I did not know it was not done until then. At that point, and so when we had a family group conference, they were trying to figure out how to get this lab done. So I called the primary care physician. Then they're willing to do it. They had the report.
Why?
So we tried. I emailed it over there.
Hold on, Tiffany. Why can't the psychiatrist order a lab test since he or she's the one that prescribed the meds in the first place?
They told me that they didn't know any labs
Around Grantwood. You're cutting out.
I can't hear, Your Honor. I can't hear. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And normally the PCP. Okay, they told me for Medicaid to pay for it, the primary care physician had to do it.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that before.
So we had a family group conference Thursday, I believe it was. Friday morning, I finally faxed it straight to the lab. No, Thursday afternoon, I finally faxed it straight to the lab just to see what happened. I learned from Friday from CASA that they accepted it and we're going through with the medication testing. And that's when when all this process, I found out that people were happy what they were being tested for. I had no say on what that was being tested for. The lab doctors from Kings Haven is the one that requested it, and I follow doctor's orders. So I'm not the expert in that field.
Well, sounds like they just sent some random drug test request without any regard of, sort of like a cattle call, like we don't think this 9-year-old's on fentanyl, or heroin or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, I didn't understand all that back and forth you were testifying to, right? And I didn't understand it all in the report. Where's the PCP, Tiffany?
She's in community. It's Dr. Ong,
Okay.
ONG, I think. I do have we do have an intake with Center of Life Resources. I may got the name wrong, out of Brownwood, equivalent to MHMR, on the 22nd. And at that meeting, I already told them I want an in-person psychiatrist to see her, to evaluate her.
Kara.
Yes. They will do intake on the 22nd, and once we get the intake completed on October 22nd, then they'll set a medication review for her.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Malone. I just didn't understand, doctor here, doctor there. I don't know what's online, what's not online. So you can go on. You can continue, Mr. Malone.
Think more regarding CPS or the.
Here.
I can't understand you either.
Ms. Schlab, is there anything more that you want to provide, either as a general update or regarding the meds specifically?
Okay, when the medication got filled for the Jornay, sure I'm telling you the right one. I went to the pharmacy and asked if it was sent to, where's the Jornay? Has mom been up there to pick up? Mrs. Romine has been up there to pick it up. The people on the phone says,
I don't understand up there where that is. If I could ask for some clarification.
The pharmacy. I went to the pharmacist.
What
pharmacy.
town? May I ask, Your Honor, may I ask what town we're talking about? I'm sorry.
It's McMahon.
McMahon. Are we talking
yeah.
about Goldthwait?
Yes.
Thank you.
I went to the Goldthwait pharmacy.
On Tiffany. Yeah, when y'all are talking, let us know where, who, because we got Brownwood, we got online, we got Comanche, we got Goldthwait. I don't know, I'm not familiar with any of these names or places or anything.
Okay. I went to the pharmacy in Goldthwait and actually called them too. When I called them, they told me the parent had called there and had it transferred to a Lampasas pharmacy. This was a week or two ago before this happened. So when I called the pharmacy in Lampasas, they had no record of her. I felt like I was getting the runaround. So I went in person. I was like, okay, have you seen this mother? And I described Ms. Romine. They said no. They don't recall her coming, but she must have went through the drive-through. That's what she's telling me. I said, okay, can y'all document or tell me if she's called up here asking to check to see if the medication was ready? They said they don't keep those type of records. But they did show me the records where it was filled on 9/18. No, filled on 8/29, and it sat on the shelf 9/18. Once it was sat on the shelf for those many days, they refunded Medicaid and sent it and to put it back on their supply list. The Medicaid prior to that paid for the risperidone and the guanfacine was sent to Abilene CVS on 8/12. Kingshaven didn't change the address like they're supposed to have it sent to the pharmacy down here. I've been in contact with Superior Health Medicaid Case Management Services, try to get this all resolved, and they had to call Kingshaven and says, no, all medications go to McMahon's and Goldthwait, all of it. And that's how that address got corrected.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Malone,
Judge, that's all we have today.
okay, thank you. Miss Lang,
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. So Tiffany, we were in, you recall being in a family group conference with everybody on the 2nd of October, right?
Correct.
And at that time, your only concern was this medication issue that you shared. Do you remember saying anything else? I'm looking at the notes right now that, that our sweet little coordinator, facilitator, Ruby had put together, and I'm reading it. Tiffany, I'm not seeing that you had any other concerns. I mean, you had concerns because the child was supposed to be in individual therapy, but that hadn't happened, and that was something you had to follow up on, right?
I followed up on it because I gave mom.
No, let me
I
ask
gave
you,
Ms.
my
Romine.
question is, wait, let me answer my question. The child was not in individual therapy, and you acknowledged that you thought Laurel Jones was supposed to be doing it, and that you're gonna help Emily follow up and get that squared away, right?
Yes.
Yes. And then the other issue was the psychiatrist, and y'all had set up that appointment to get the psychiatry in Brownwood. And you and I talked about the dental appointment that Kira was behind on her dental when she came to her mom's house. She wasn't due for her annual medical, but y'all are trying to play catch up and get things done, right? Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So then the child actually, Kira came to live with her mother before the 29th of August, because school started August 20th, right?
Correct.
And you testified earlier that your
Yes.
communications with Kingshaven telemedicine didn't really start till August 29th. 9 days after Kira had already moved here, you were then trying to hustle and get the prescription squared away, right?
That
At the
was the
29th.
medication. No, I started immediately when the medication needed to be refilled. When she
Okay.
got placed there that Monday, I started calling. The appointment was not till the 29th.
Okay, so that's that, but you didn't make that appointment before she moved, and we've been talking about moving her for months,
The
right?
appointment could not be moved until Medicaid's name was changed into Ms. Romine's name as a medical center.
Okay. Okay, so at our family group conference, that was the concern, but now my understanding is you have a concern that my client's a liar, that she's not being honest to you with the department, is that right?
There's concerns there, yes.
Yeah, and so you're basing that on what you've already testified to is communication with pharmacies and trying to get medications to the right place and get Miss Romine to where those medications are. Is that the whole circumstance where this has come to light?
Yes.
Okay, so you called the pharmacy, they told you the parent transferred this, you tried to connect the dots. So when you asked CASA about it and talked to her, did you inquire with CASA and see if Emily had communicated anything about these medications with her? To Kristen?
Krista volunteered the information. She volunteered the information that she went up there.
Right, but did
Ms.
you,
Romine has gone up there.
but at the time you made your assumption that Miss Romine, you jumped to a conclusion to say she's a liar and she's trying to trick you about not wanting to give medications to this child. You didn't immediately investigate it further. You didn't call CASA and say, hey, what do you think? Did she communicate with you about having trouble getting this prescription? Did you do that, Tiffany? Did you call her and CASA and ask her before she volunteered the information to you and you made your assumption?
I called her shortly after finding out what I found out, asking and telling her, look here, this is what information I found,
Right.
and that's what she told me.
Right. And in that conversation, you said, Emily Romine's lying to me. You told her that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you call Emily's mother and ask her, who has traveled with Emily to that pharmacy 5 times to pick up those medications and made phone calls to them? Did you, or she was present during telephone calls? Did you talk to her mom and say, hey, has Emily made any effort to get those meds? Did you do that? Yes or no? Did you do that? Did you talk to Kira and say,
No,
Kira,
no.
are you aware that your mom, are you aware that Kira was present during those phone calls or even on the trips over to the pharmacy? You didn't
I
investigate that? Yes or
I
no?
had,
Did you do that?
no,
Did you call
no.
me? And did you say, Becky, I'm having a hard time communicating or understanding exactly what happened with this? But to find out, did your client really move that drug to another pharmacy, or is she refusing to pick it up? Did you call and inquire of that to me?
No,
Would it surprise you that she made over 5 attempts? She notified CASA. She even told you, Tiffany, that she'd gone up there to pick up the meds. There were no meds to pick up. Are you going to acknowledge that she let you know she tried to go there and pick them up? Or are you going to say she never did that?
she did say that to me.
Okay, that's very good. So where in this circumstance are you seeing that she's not wanting to comply and do what she needs to do? Has she done anything else she's lied to you about?
The other one that's come up in the last couple of days is this individual therapy. August the 27th, I believe it was. I told her she needed to call Laurel Jones because Laurel Jones needed to do intake with her.
Are you aware that Laurel Jones has sent her a message? They met at the First Baptist Church, and individual therapy is starting on next Wednesday. And it was a communication issue between my client and Laurel Jones, and she worked it out without you helping her.
No,
Are you aware that they have therapy started?
I did help her because
Okay.
Laura Jones emailed me on Monday or Friday asking me, do we need still at therapy because no one had follow up. Then I said yes. And she wanted Emily's current number.
Okay.
And
Oh, she didn't have Emily's current number. Tiffany, let me ask you
So-
some more questions. Let me just ask you the questions, Tiffany. So bottom line is, the child is in school and mom helped get her enrolled in school, correct? Right?
yes,
The child has not had any unexcused absences. She's doing well in school, getting accolades in school, and mom's fully responsible for that, correct?
yes,
And now she's got her individual therapy set up with Laurel Jones, and that'll for the child actually, and that's going to be started. And mom did that. She met with her, she set it up, and she'll be following up to get her there, correct?
yes.
And mom participates in individual therapy on her own. She coordinates those appointments, she attends them. In fact, she gets glowing reports from Mr. Ricky Jones, correct?
Yes.
And then Kristen, the CASA, she communicates fully with her. Has Kristen ever told you, oh my gosh, I'm concerned that Miss Romine is not being genuine and authentic and she's telling lies to me? Has Kristen ever told you that?
No.
And you're aware that this child went without her medications during her stay in the foster environment. You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
For similar reasons, the prescriptions, the pharmacies, all that kind of stuff. Did the foster family jump up and down and did you get on the phone and call the primary doctor and figure out the negative effects to this child if she doesn't have her medications on a daily basis? Did you do that?
That's multiple yes, no's. You have to break it down, please.
Okay, let me just ask it simply because this is the thing that concerns me most. This child has had an interruption in her medication I love Emily's explanation is the bureaucratic problems. Let me ask you, when you called the primary care provider as the parent of this child right now and said, wow, doctor, I'm so concerned. This child has had an interruption in her medications. What did the doctor tell you?
She's not an expert on this field and she couldn't help me with it.
Well, who do you go? You don't have, as a parent, you wouldn't know who else to go to if you're worried like hell that they're supposed to be taking their meds and they're not. You couldn't find a professional to call. Are you concerned that she's not taking her meds? I'm going to move on, Tiffany. Are you aware that the medications are only...
Can't understand. I can't understand. Can't understand.
Is Emily's
I
asking me,
can't understand. Stop. I cannot understand a word you're saying.
Yeah, I'll make do one. Okay. And this is oh, okay.
Jenna, we hear you too. Tiffany, say it again. I cannot understand what you were saying.
Yes. There was another concern about the medication that came up too.
Go
that
ahead, I'm
related
interested to
to-
hear.
Emily asked me to count the medication. When Emily asked me to count the medication, when it started, there were 6.
You're talking about Emily Miller or Emily Romine? There are two Emilys in this
Okay.
case.
Sorry. Emily Miller asked me to have a medicine count. I texted Emily Miller to count the pills for me. She texted back she had 6 risperidones left. Once the Jornay was issue was resolved, I had gone back to the house the next week and did another medication account. I asked to see the bottle. The bottle was dated 8/12/25, and it had 6 risperidones in it. The same bottle I delivered to her at the time of placement. If she was given the medication properly, there would have been no medication left for all the medications.
Okay, so when you talked to her about it, what did she say?
She told me that she accidentally found this bottle.
And
Okay, that's possible, but I don't recall having extra bottles sent to her. And the it's like, where's the other bottles? So I can count them. She said they were sent
Can't
to
can't
her brother. The other pill.
can't understand.
Sorry, it's the noise background. Hang
okay,
on, there's another
All
car
right.
coming by. The
Okay.
other pill bottles were not in the house.
okay. So when's the last time, well, I had another question real quick. Are you aware that the pharmacy is only sending one medication at a time?
Yes, that's correct, because they were trying to make sure Medicaid is going to pay for it. It gets sent to the right pharmacy this time
So-
around.
Okay, so she actually has in the house, she has the Jornay, is that the right word? Jornay is in the house, and we're waiting on the guanfacine and the risperidol. So I guess you could go by and count how many Jornay are in the bottle and see if your hypothesis is accurate that mom's not giving the child the medications. Have you been over there? When's the last time you went and followed up on this?
This was last week. I've been out of town on Thursday and Friday, and I was out of town today and yesterday. So probably my plan is to go wait tomorrow.
And so could Kristen also help if she's in and out of the house some to help put your mind at ease?
I have no problem with that.
Okay. Do you find it kind of interesting, Tiffany, that as I went through that list of the folks that Emily Romine communicates with very effectively on behalf of her child and herself, her school, the therapist, her employer, who she's had that job with for almost 5 years now, consistent employment, you're the only one she's having a hard time communicating with. So, or do you find that interesting? Just yes or no? You don't think that's interesting? Okay. Are you open to having some, if the department stays in this case, if we continue on this path, are you interested in exploring some other opportunities to get you information you need before you formulate your conclusions and jump to conclusions to help set this family up to succeed? Are you interested in working collaboratively in that domain?
I will make my recommendations and my statements based on the collateral information I receive.
Okay, I think it's witness.
Miss Miller.
Thank you. Ms. Schlab, at the last hearing, it was ordered that Emily Romine get a physical with a complete drug count. And you or your supervisor disputed that at the permanency conference, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We did not recall hearing it in the before hearing.
Okay, and so I suggested that maybe you get a copy of the docket sheet, request a copy of the order, or visit with your attorney about that. Do you remember that request that I made?
Yes, ma'am. And I
Did
did
you-
get a copy of the order and the docket sheet.
You did or you did not?
I did.
Okay, and so who is Emily Romine's physical with a complete drug count scheduled for? When is that scheduled?
It's with Assess Family Health.
Are you talking about
November 6th.
Are you talking about Excel
Excel.
Healthcare in Brownwood? Excel Healthcare
Yes,
in
ma'am.
Brownwood?
Yes, ma'am. That's what it is. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And what is the date of that?
No, the earliest they could get her in is November 6th.
Okay. So November 6th for Emily Romine, physical and CBC.
I told them all lab work.
Okay. Did you use the word complete blood count?
No, I told them a wellness exam along with lab work.
Well, we'll just cross our fingers on that, won't we? And can you tell us what the count is of each of the pills, each of the prescribed medication that's in the child's home as of today?
I cannot, like I said, I did not have that counted, and those since last Wednesday or last Tuesday when I was up there, last Wednesday or Tuesday.
Okay. What was the count as of last Wednesday or Tuesday?
That was the 6 pills of risperidone, 0 pills of Godafin, and 0 pills of Jornay.
Okay.
That's the one at the bottle that had the risperidone is the one with the bottle with 812 on it.
Okay. So even though she has active prescriptions for these 3 medications and DFPS is her permanent managing conservator, we have 6 risperidones, 0 guanfacines, and 0 risperidones as of a week ago, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When was Kira's last dentist appointment and who was it with?
It was at dental office in Abilene. And I'm thinking it was like February, March. I can't say for sure.
Okay. And when is her next dentist appointment scheduled and with whom?
October 22nd. It's a dental agency in Brownwood, but I can't recall the name.
Okay, with the Brownwood dentist. Okay, and you'll recall at our permanency conference that Commissioner Williams said that he would make the introduction to the Graves dentist office and that the Child Welfare Board would pay for that. Do you remember that?
I do.
Did that ever happen?
I did not make their
Can't understand.
appointment because Medicaid had I set the medication, the one in Brownwood, up on the same day as the intake of the psychiatric. That's the reason we did it on the same day, so I can ensure that she would be there, and I will be transporting her.
Okay, so we have
the intake to do the had a psychiatric doctor assigned is on the 22nd of October at 1.
Okay.
The dental appointment is at 3, and I was going to transport them myself, so she didn't have to pay any money, and Medicaid would pay for it.
Okay, so on 10/22, is she just going to do an intake at the Center for Life Resources, or is she going to see an MD?
My understanding intake, and then they'll set the MD appointment up later on, 2 or 3 weeks out, my understanding.
All right, and that's a little less than 2 weeks from today, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And so between now and then, the child has 0 guanfacine, 0 risperidone, and as of a week ago, I'm sorry, 6 of the risperidone and 0 of the Jornays, correct?
That's the last count. Yes. my understanding that one of the medications was supposed to have been filled, but I have not seen it, so I can't count that.
All right. No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions, Ms. Schlab? Ms. Schlab, remind me again, because you've been cutting out a bunch. What has the department done to get mom a doctor's appointment, which includes a physical and complete blood work?
I made several phone calls to find a clinic that was cost, paid scale cost. And the one that will do it is the place in Brownwood. And the earliest they could do is November 6th.
Okay.
In doing this, I found out where it was done. And during the home visit, I dialed the number and gave the phone to Miss Romine, and she actually made the appointment
For November 6th?
for November 6th. The earliest they could do it.
Okay. Is Journey Medicine a new one with this new diagnosis?
No, she's been on Jornay approximately 18 months.
Is one of the
They
meds?
tried other medications and they tried
And it
multiple
just what didn't work?
medications prior to that. It didn't work. Combination didn't work. This one, the Jornay, keeps her
Can't understand.
control.
Can't understand. The Journey what?
The Jornay keeps her ADHD under control.
Okay. Are the other two she's on, are those new or are they old? I could look, but you know off the top of your head.
There was Baridone and Vonapine are also, there was Vonapine for ADHD too. The Baridone is for as a mood stabilizer and helps her sleep. Sorry, it's more honked.
So basically she's been on all these meds the whole time or a long time.
For a long time, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's just adjustment is gone up and down,
Okay.
and that's what has to be fluctuated.
Okay. What with the new autism diagnosis, because her previous diagnosis was ADHD, is that right? Can anybody just answer that question for me? Was her prior diagnosis ADHD and the autism is a new one?
That's correct. The autism was not was not actually put onto a psychological until it was last psychological.
Okay.
With that said, Medicaid saw it and they referred to her to ABA therapy. I can't remember the initial. And so that referral was done. Ms. Romine participated in that, from my understanding, from the intake person. And they started that before we even started the intake with the agency, knowing that we didn't have an appointment to the 22nd, but they said it was important to get started pretty quickly on that therapy.
Okay. Is she doing that in person or online?
I believe it's in person. From my understanding, the person will come out of Brownwood. There's only one therapist in the Brownwood area that covers Mills County. And so that was one of the reasons they were trying to get it started quickly, is because she's hard to get into.
Okay. So how many therapists is Kyra seeing now?
She sees Laurel Jones for individual therapy. She'll have her ABA therapy. She has a family therapist
Can't understand
that
you.
they
And she
see
has a family.
every Thursday.
Okay, so she sees three
The
different
family therapy is
therapists.
every week. Yes, ma'am. The Laurel Jones, the individual, is every other week. The
Okay.
family therapist is every Thursday, from
And
my
how
understanding.
is ABA?
That just started, that happened. I got the phone call when I was flying out to Lubbock, so it happened Thursday.
Okay,
So it's all brand new.
okay. Okay, thank you. Anybody have any other questions for Ms. Schlab?
Please.
Mr. Malone?
Tiffany, earlier you were giving yes or no answers during a lot of your testimony. Did you need to clarify anything? Sometimes when you give a yes or no, there may be more to the answer than that. So did you need to clarify any of your prior
Your Honor,
testimony?
I'm going to object to the open-ended nature of that question. If counsel has specific questions about specific issues, he can ask those. This is not a narrative.
I'm overruled. She answered because I couldn't tell about half of what she's testifying to anyway.
You may answer, Tiffany.
I can't recall what it was tonight, so I can't recall what the question was, so I'm fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all I have, Judge.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions, Ms. Schlab?
No, Your Honor.
I
Okay,
do, Your Honor.
Ms. Miller.
When is ABA therapy scheduled and with whom?
I would have to go back and look on the email that she sent it to me. And I'll send it to you. I really don't. I just glanced at it and I hadn't had a chance to really look at it closely. But my understanding, Ms. Romine scheduled it, and I don't know exactly what the dates.
I don't have any further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Lang, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, next witness, Mr. Malone.
I muted you. Say it again. Say it again. I had muted you.
What'd you say? I didn't understand.
We have nothing, no
Okay.
testimony.
Ms. Lang, you have any witnesses quick?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Vargas, what do you want to add before we get to Ms. Miller?
I just have a few things to add, Your Honor. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for acknowledging my report. I did cover some of what I'm about to say in this, but I wanted to give you a little bit more voiceover in that I did have an opportunity to work collaboratively with Emily, Romine, and Kira to unpack 9 large boxes that came, the remaining boxes that came with Kira when she moved home. And much to my own personal surprise, I was surprised to see boxes of belongings of Kira when she was 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old to the current state. And what I mean by that is every piece of clothing from when she was in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, much of it in deplorable conditions, holes in it, soiled, clearly does not fit her, has not fit her for some time. And so we quickly pivoted our organizational project to what could be thrown away, what could be donated, what could be saved, and currently fits Kira. But I bring that to your attention because the impression that I got was that Miss Romine did not feel that she was empowered or had the decision rights to dispose of these items since they were just kind of dropped off at her home. Additionally, our community has really rallied around this family, but some of the very well-intentioned donations, they just frankly don't have room to store. They also do not fit Kira, but out of respect for the community, Miss Romine was also feeling like she should not just get rid of these items. So I share that with you to say, currently they're living in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath home. We recently got some exciting news that their time has come up on the waiting list to transition into a 2-bedroom unit because that was not something Miss Romine was eligible for before Kira was physically home on August the 15th. So I am encouraged by the work that we did. There are, as of today, a few remaining boxes, and a new box arrived as recently as the end of last week that is full of additional items from the last foster home, more toys, more clothes, etc. And we kind of made the executive decision to not unpack those boxes since we know they will be moving again very, very soon. So I wanted to share that with you. And I also wanted to give you some additional context from my purview on kind of this bureaucratic ritualism with the medical stuff. It was incredibly complicated to navigate. I personally spent 4 hours working on it with this lab in Comanche, and that's in addition to the time that Miss Romine put into it and that Tiffany also put into it. And I just wanted to share with you that when those lab orders from the psychiatric facility in Houston were sent to Comanche, all of Kira's information reflected Tyler, Texas, which is 3 placements ago. In addition to that, this facility in Houston requested these very specific lab panels to Quest Diagnostics, which I understand is a certain type of lab that we just do not have in our area at all. And so Comanche uses LabCorp, but I guess there's some niche differences on, for example, LabCorp does not offer the exact panels that Quest does. So they're like, well, we can do a 10 panel, but we don't offer a 12 panel. We also had a need for speed because no one wanted Kira to be without her medications. And the reason that you saw me speak to the fentanyl and the heroin and all of this stuff is because the lab was like, this is very inappropriate for a 9-year-old. And not only is it unusual, we cannot do these tests in-house. So we're going to have to send them out of house, and it's going to take 5 to 10 days to get those results back, which was just adding more time to our timeline. But I do have concern with unnecessary tests being done on Kira as far as this kind of cookie cutter transactional type thing, because she does not like getting her labs drawn. She does not like getting shots. And so just adding these unnecessary steps that really don't apply to her situation is a concern of mine. And that's really just some additional context I wanted to provide. I also do have firsthand knowledge of a visit that I made in Abilene, Texas with Kira in April, where her foster mom at the time spoke of great troubles getting her medications refilled and also having issues with this Kings Haven out of Houston. So I just want you to know that this issue we're having is not unique to Miss Romine. I also heard the prior placement speak of frustration with that too. So that is why one of my recommendations in my report is that Kira transition away from a Houston telemed and does have the opportunity to receive psychiatric care in person. And Brownwood is the closest place that I'm aware of where we can make that happen.
Okay, anybody have any questions, Ms. Vargas?
No, Your Honor.
No question.
Okay. Kristen, you talk about community and people donating things. Did CPS give the child any clothes or anything?
It is my understanding that CPS brought a backpack with some school supplies, some kind of miscellaneous household items like towels, linens, things of that nature, and kind of a staggered way. It wasn't a one-time drop. But when we were doing our organizational project, we did come across these 2 very large duffel bags that Miss Romine told me had come from CPS. And one of them contained like brand new baby blankets. And baby blankets, I mean like that you would send home with a newborn from the hospital wrapped in plastic. In
Right.
addition to toddler clothing, there was another duffel bag that contained things that were like half shirts, crop tops, things that would be very inappropriate for an elementary age student, from stores like Forever 21 and things like that, that I think high school kids possibly might be more interested in. But a lot of the graphics just had very negative words, like saying things like antisocial, don't talk to me, you know, the hands not listening, like just kind of these graphic t-shirts with words and stuff. I don't know the origin of these clothes, Your Honor, because they did not have tags on them. They appeared to be in good condition, but they did not have tags on them to indicate they were brand new. I don't know where they came from, but there were 2 CPS duffels. Back to the executive decision, those 2 duffels were put under my recommendation into the donation pile because there was nothing usable for Kira out of either one of those items, and they were just contributing to the clutter of this home.
Okay. Did you talk to Tiffany about those clothes? Or those
I
items?
don't know that we went into that level of detail. I know I talked to Tiffany about the progress that we had made of like, we started with this many boxes, we've eliminated this many, this is what is remaining. My understanding and talking to Miss Romine is this was a collaborative effort of like, when Kira was coming for supervised and unsupervised visitation, she was being transported by HSTs that were assisting. So I know some of those items were brought not necessarily by Tiffany herself, but by different other people that helped in transporting Kira.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think we need to be wearing crop tops or shirts that say stupid things like that. That's not good. I'm glad you went through those. When you said there was a new box that arrived, how was that from CPS or the new box stuff from the foster home? How did that get there?
It was my understanding that it was from the last foster home placement, and the box was sent to CPS, and then CPS shipped it to Miss Romine.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder why that lady didn't get it together when we were picking up everything originally, you know? Not CPS, but that foster mom and Ameline. Okay, you got me confused again. Has Kira's blood been drawn yet?
Yes, ma'am. It was drawn in Comanche. I'm sorry, I don't have the date in front of me, but it was the day after our family group conference. It was drawn in Comanche and the results were sent to Houston the same day for the lab work. They could not send all of these drug tests because those had to be sent away somewhere. And I don't know if those have ever made it to Houston yet at this point.
Well, you talked about, additional blood having to be drawn. I mean, I can't imagine the cost also, for fentanyl hair. I mean, that sounds like a CPS parent,
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Thank you. Anybody have any questions, Ms. Vargas?
No, Your Honor.
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kristen.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
Ms. Miller, what's up?
Your Honor, I think that this hearing has spoken for itself. I would ask, I visited with Kira. She wants to be on her medication, and unfortunately, a 9-year-old is not capable of being her own medical consenter or procuring her own medication, or else I'm sure it probably would have happened. She's doing great in school. I know everybody is happy to have her there. Ms. Kristen, along with single-handedly facilitating her housing, has single-handedly facilitated her entry into the school and really walked with Miss Emily Romine, getting her into the special services and getting her the help that she needs. But Kira remains terrified of the CPS system, as I would be, as I think any of us would be, if we had spent the amount of time in care and moved from house to house, as Kira has. So Kira wants to stay home. She wants to be on her medication. She loves being with her mother, and in fact doesn't even want to move into the 2-bedroom because she loves sharing her bedroom with her mommy. I'm confident that they'll be able to spend plenty of snuggle time together in the 2-bedroom apartment. But we've all got to work on doing everything that we can to reduce Kira's anxiety, and administratively detoxing her from drugs and failing on the therapy does not help the child. There's only one person that is hurt by the child not receiving her medication as prescribed, and that's Kira. Only one person that's hurt by the therapeutic bureaucratic hassles, and that's Kira. And I would ask that when Ms. Schlab goes to visit the family tomorrow, that she bring a 14-day supply of the medication to the child to get her through the next 2 weeks before her meeting is set up at Excel Health. I was disappointed to learn that despite the court's orders that DFPS didn't provide and pay for a doctor's appointment for Ms. Romine until November the 6th. That's with the public health entity in Brownwood. So I guess CPS escaped having to pay for that out of pocket. And I guess the taxpayers can do that of Brown County. But as long as I'm kind of shocked that CPS let loose their position on the reinstatement of parental rights and is against that happening, even though that hearing is not set for today. I just can't imagine that this be handled any more poorly than it has been handled. And we can all shift the blame from one person to another, from one county to another, from Harris County to Taylor County to Mills County to Brown County. And the blame shifting has really been unparalleled in this case. However, the only person that blame shifting hurts is Kira. So when CPS comes tomorrow, I would ask that they bring a 14-day supply of all her medicine. If they have to pay for that out of pocket, then ouch, they can go ahead and do that. And I would like to know the dates within 24 hours. I would like to know the dates of the ABA therapy. I would like to know the dates of individual therapy. And I would also ask the court that the petition on reinstatement be set within the required 60 days.
Thank
And I
you.
believe that's all I have. Thank you.
Judge, I have one more thing, if I may.
Okay.
Judge, I have a true concern about Ms. Emily Romine, my client, being able to effectively communicate and continue to work with Tiffany Schlab. I'd ask the court and the department to consider placing a new caseworker on this case, or in the alternative, if they choose not, to have us sit down and do a collaborative in-person meeting with Ms. Ashley Tulloch and Ms. Tiffany Schlab, myself and my client, as soon as possible to bridge these gaps and assure that my client is given due diligence and an opportunity to express herself in her ability within her communication skills with those that she's encountered with Ms. Schlab, having no communication problems with anybody else. So I'd ask the court either have her get a new caseworker that we can build trust with and know that we're not being set up to fail every time we turn around, or have us all sit down and really truly get invested in a clean path forward full of integrity.
Thank you. Okay, here's the order. Kara's psychiatric visits are no Zoom, no, sorry, no via Zoom, Kara's psychiatric visits unless agreed by the ad litem's. CPS is to get the child 14 days of meds to provide tomorrow. CPS provided items and Miss Lang with monthly schedule of mom's and child's doctor's appointments and therapist appointment. Let's just say on, let's say 10, 15, 25, and on first day of each month thereafter. That'll be written. Ms. Lang is to set up a team meeting to occur by the end of this month. It's to be in person, all the team to attend, not me, including the county attorney and the adoption supervisor. The next permanency after hearing is set for 11/12. I can't tell you a time right now. That's a Lano day, but I'll give you a time later. And Ms. Miller's current pleadings are set for trial on 12/9/25. And once again, I can't give you a time. I know I'm dealing with having to handle people's medicines that aren't mine right now also. And I understand the complexity of that. And having to deal with pharmacies and doctor referrals and doctor calling in. It's an insurance, it's a nightmare. Even with people that went to law school, you know. So anyway, I get that. But I wonder if there's any way we can get these meds where they're all run out at the same time. They all need to be refilled at the same time. No. That's easiest. Is Ms. Vargas next? I mean, could you go talk to them? I mean, how can we get this fixed, y'all?
I would, Your Honor, I would just say, I don't understand the Medicaid complications, but I've never heard of this thing of sending them one at a time. I mean, Kara's labs were done. They should have all been sent to Goldthwait. So I don't understand that. I've talked to my pharmacist about the situation at a high level. She said she's never heard of that, and she's been doing she's been a pharmacist for 25 years in Austin, and she's never encountered this. So it's hard for me to really understand if this is just the way it is, or if this is a one-off, or I don't know, but I agree 1000% that yes, having them all three filled at the same time, picked up on the same day, is a preferred method, but also not an unreasonable one. So I hope that getting Kira to a new provider in Brownwood, we could advocate for that and have a fresh start.
I was gonna say CPS to arrange all three meds refilled at the same time and to be picked up at the same time. You know, whether that might give you 5 pills to get you through 5 days, and then on the 6th day, everything starts over again, you know, something like that. I mean, it's got to be easier. And you know what, I'm seeing another complication is when Kira goes to that place in Brownwood, it's going to be another doctor prescribing meds, you know? So that's going to be more complicated. No new meds without ad litem consultation.
That's fine.
I mean, you know, 3, I'm not real cool with being on 3, you know, I don't like 3. Especially because when I read about them, they're all kind of, I mean, at least the the GUA one and the Respiral or whatever, they kind of do the same thing. Why? I mean, you know, once again, we got these doctors that are on screen and not in person prescribing a bunch of meds for kids that are 400 miles away. And I don't like that.
Your Honor,
Yes,
may
ma'am.
I just offer just a little bit of some insight, something that Tiffany and I have talked about kind of working on is obviously transitioning all of these providers that are close to mom, providing mom with a complete list of who those providers are, what kind of service they're giving her or Kira, their contact information and such like that. So that is something where we've identified that that is a struggle. Moving Kira's, all of her complex case status over. You know, mom hasn't had her for 2 years and she comes with a lot of appointments and a lot of things to take care of. And so that is, I think, a lot of where the miscommunication is where like we're providing this paperwork to mom going, hey, this is placement paperwork. That information from her prior doctors are on placement paperwork. The information from medical consenter is on that paperwork, but really just sitting down with mom and working through that and explaining that more in depth, asking her questions of like what she's not understanding and being able to give her better guidance. It is something that we are working on those weekly meetings with mom and Kira, and to provide her that just kind of draw up of who's your provider, what service are they providing, what is the expectation with this provider, like you know, how often medication management appointments have to be made, how often dentist appointments need to be made, how often yearly exams have to be made. So just making sure that that's in like an easily accessible, readable document for mom. Once we get all of these providers established, I think we'll really kind of eliminate all of that. And once we have that, it's going to be contributed or, you know, distributed to everyone who's on this case so that they have that too, and that they can see what's been provided to mom. And that way everybody has that information easily available. So I know that putting these orders in place or whatever is just kind of like a brainstorm of everything that's been provided today, but I will let you know that we are already working on some of this, getting a provider who is overseeing and providing all 3 of these medications here locally will help with getting those refilled at the same time. Those medications can be refilled, I think it's 10 days before you run out. And so like you were saying earlier, like even if she has 7 of one and 5 of another, like we can still get those refilled within the same time frame, as long as it's in the timeframes of Medicaid. And so just getting mom on that schedule. And I think that's really what it is getting mom familiar with the needs of Kira and what the department and legal parties require of child placement, allowing mom to work through that relationship that she wasn't able to have with Kira for that time frame. It's a lot going on in this case, and we do recognize that. And there are things that we are actively working on, identifying deficits. And I think that everybody is very passionate about Kira and wants the absolute best for her. And I think that's what we're hearing today from everybody's testimony and the questions that are asked is just how passionate everyone is about Kira and the reconnection with mom. So.
No, and I had a circle with exclamation mark where it said the last page of Tiffany's report talks about a care plan. And I think that's great. And if y'all get the care plan, y'all can incorporate the order about giving the doctor's appointments and all that. And you got a one-stop shopping document that everybody can see too.
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
Your Honor, I believe early on in our attempt at our progress towards reunification, we talked about the need for mom to get an entire history of the medical history for the child, and we've not received that yet.
Right, that comes with redaction, and those do take some time, Becky. We are working on that, but that is something that we have identified that mom needs to be able to, you know, get Kira the best care and be able to have those good conversations with providers. So absolutely, and we are working on that.
Okay, good. Okay, well, let's do that. And no new meds without items consultation. That's the only other thing I ordered. And good luck, Miss Emily Romine, and I will see you on via Zoom on 11/12. Thank y'all. Okay, good hearing, good
Thank you.
information. Y'all are excused. Thank you.
Thank you.